Hey everyone, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another video. We're going to continue this one from the previous week when we started working with this React application. So we're going to be continuing from there. And then we are going to see if we have time enough today to look into either Solid or Angular. That would be based on you, what you folks decide and suggest. And then we'll take it from there. So I do want to have this very focused, but I also want to answer any questions that you might have about web development and the usual questions that we have, like jobs, technologies, what's happening in the web development industry and whatnot. So we're going to take it from there. Okay. So last time when we were working on the application, there were some challenges that we were looking into. So we are going to continue right from there, and then we are going to see how to proceed from there. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to go and share with you the link to the repository that we have started to look into. So let me quickly go ahead and share the link right in the chat, and I need to also take out the chat. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Shazib. So let me pull this one, let me pull this guy as well. And I think we have everything set up, almost everything. Alrighty, let's go. So here, I'm gonna quickly share this in the chat. So this is the link to the GitHub repository, which we are following right now. It doesn't have any README yet, but we are going to create one after we have done everything. So then we'll take it from there, okay? So first of all, here we have the quiz app React that we have started building. And if I go to the code, this is how it looks so far. We created a couple of components like header, layout, question, and then we also fetched the question, and we also had the home and login so far, right? So if I go to my localhost 3000, this is how it looks. And I should also make this one a bit smaller. Let's see if I can find window grid. No, I can't. So if I do, let's see, can I do this? No, can't do this. Should be able to do this, right? And then it should ask me, hey, what do you want next? Similarly, I can go to the browser app for this. Although this runs on 5173, so I shouldn't be at localhost 3000 in that case. That's the SolidJS application. And here we go. So this should also be, can I put the chat here? No, I cannot. All right, let's just put this here. So this is what we ended up doing last time. So we're going to continue from here, okay? Usama Javed Sawati is asking, how are you, bhai? I'm good, Alhamdulillah. How are you doing today? So last time, I actually forgot what we were doing till last time, but now I recall we were able to get the scores, and we were also able to show the scores as well, and the question what we have asked so far. So in here, you're going to notice that we have this print hello world. So if I click this, it goes to the second question. And if I click the correct answer, then I also get some score. For example, which tag is used for including a JavaScript file? It should be this script tag. But right now you can see that we don't get, or we don't show any score. So we're gonna work on that. But what I want to do is to also have a look at the commit. So in the code, you're gonna see there was one commit, and in here we had all the files. So far what we do is we have this gist. Let me try to find this. So this is the gist that we are using for the questions. And if you remember, we started creating this gist. Can I find it here? gist.github.com. And here we have this JavaScript questions JSON. And this JSON is pretty simple. It has 3 different questions, and all those questions have answers. and we have a correct answer ID, and each question has its own ID as well. Now what we just want to do is to make sure that we have the correct answer selected for scoring. So here, I don't know why do we have it like this. I'm not really sure. We probably could just do this. Nope, did not want to do that. So let's change this back to script. Oops. A less than. So we got script tag, script equals to Java. Looks good to me. Is there anything else that I need to update? I don't think so. So I'm going to public or update this gist. Now, if you go back to the app, if I go back and refresh, you're going to see that we get the JSON. But has it changed? Because I think that now it's just trying to get it from the commit, right? I think that's why. This is gonna be an interesting challenge because when I update, I still want to get the same file. So if I had to click this is the JSON that I have, and this is the gist link, and then it's gonna be a bit tricky. But what happens, yeah, if I go here, it's gonna just render the one, but if I go to raw, then it has to know about the commit as well. All right, we'll do something about it, don't worry. Shujaz Ali, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Why Tailwind CSS over component-based libraries such as Material UI and D and Chakra etc? Because I don't want to learn yet a new framework. I don't want to learn and D, because then I just would learn a new thing, something that's really specific to that framework. It's like using Bootstrap, using jQuery, which are very specific. So they are not really JavaScript or really CSS. I like Tailwind CSS because it is closer to CSS. If you learn a Tailwind class, you're probably going to learn a CSS property along with that. For example, if I run into justify between, which is a CSS class here, like justify between, this is one-to-one with justify content set to space between in CSS. So almost all classes of Tailwind CSS are one-to-one with a CSS property. So the more classes you learn in Tailwind CSS, the more you learn about CSS in general. So that's why I would prefer this over component-based libraries. I hope that makes sense. Mohammad Shahbaz Baloch, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is SolidJS? It's good. It's good. It's fast. There are some things to consider. There are some things to keep in mind when working with Solid, because it's sort of a paradigm shift. So you're going to be very careful when working with it, especially with signals. But I think apart from that, it's nice. I like it so far. So let's go through all of this again. So what I want to do is I want to be able to save things in the store. I want to be able to calculate the store. And I also want to be able to reset the store, for example. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly put Ahsan here, hit submit. Remember, we kept it super simple, which means that anybody can come in and anybody can go and log in with their name. The name is shown up top here. And then here we have the questions coming in. So first of all, let's say we go with the correct answer. So it gives us a score of 5. We are on the second question out of 3. Now here, what is the purpose of JavaScript? To style HTML pages, to add interactivity to HTML pages, or to perform server-side scripting operations. So that one. And now we have this. I'm still skeptical on why do we still get the same response from the JSON. Let's see. Let's have a look. So in here, we should have a fetch. Unless we are hard coding it. I don't think we are hard coding it. Oh, let's get rid of this. So we have JavaScript questions in which we get this data coming from the backend, or not from the backend, but rather from, because we did not update the URL. So let's quickly go ahead in the code. We're going to go to our file that is store.ts, and at the top we have this URL. So let's update the URL with the updated. You will notice that here this variable or this whole string changes, that's because I've updated the file. So it adds another commit to git or gist, and then I need to use the updated link. So I'm going to update this and I'm going to go and refresh this. And now if I have a look at the JSON, I should get the right text here. So we don't see the weird stuff there, right? So now that we have this, let's do a couple of things. So first of all, if I go back to my code, there was one thing that we were trying last time, and I did update some of the code. So let me walk you through what happens in different situations. When we are about to answer a question, this is what happens. It goes to the answer question function. It checks, hey, what is the score that we want to add? We default it to 0. Then we check if the question's correct answer ID is the same as the answer ID that I've given. So if the user selects the correct answer, these two should be same. And in that case, we add the score and make it 5, right? Otherwise it's 0. Then what we do is that we update the state in a single return here. So you're going to notice that we are updating the score because we want to add the score if it was correct. Otherwise, we just add 0. So there's no change in the score. But then also what we want to do is we want to make the correct, the answered question marked as answered. So what we do here is that we are going to check with the state questions. So we are checking all the questions in the state. And then we are saying, hey, if the question was the same question as the one that has been answered right now, then we mark this as asked true. Easy peasy. And that's pretty much it. For the next pick questions, this is what happens. Whenever we want to pick a new question, we're going to go ahead and see, hey, what are the questions that are remaining right now? We're going to get those. We're going to randomize the index. We're going to pick a random question, and then we set the current question to the random question. And that's how we show a random question right here. That's pretty much it, actually, if we have a look at that. One thing that may be of interest is in home, whenever we answer the question, here you're going to see. So whenever we select an answer from the question component, it first answers the question and then it picks the next question. And in SolidJS, they are both synchronous. So when you answer a question, it goes ahead and then it in the store, it makes everything or it sets all the things like the score that we talked about and the questions as marked. Once that's done, then it picks the next question. So that's how it is working right now. Now, once the questions are over, we should just display the score and ask if they want to, or the user wants to, show, or the user wants to reset, for example. So in here, what we are going to do is we're going to check if we have questions done. So in this case, you can see that we have a current question and then we are showing the question here. Then when we are picking the next question, we may or we may not get a question. That is because if we have answered the last one, then there's no more questions to work with, right? So in this case, how do we go about it? So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to check if we have more questions left. If we have more questions left, then we pick the next one. Otherwise, we just mark this state as game finished, right? So for this, we could either add a state in the store that says game finished or something, or let me think, or we check it manually in that case. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the game state because there's only one place where we need this information and not anywhere else. So it's rather better to see if the game has ended and show it here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component here. I'm going to call this game finished.tsx. Here we're going to create a new component. So RAFC, this one. And then we basically put some stuff inside. So the game finished would be rendered and would say something like, hey, the game has finished. So h3 game finished, or quiz finished rather. And here we have a button that says retake quiz, and that's it. So we're going to copy the classes from here, which are applied to the each button. So here I'm going to just go ahead and copy all of that, come to game finished, apply it here, class name, and here, oh, this should have been button and not button. So in here we have this class that we have applied, and on click we are just going to mark this quiz as finished, and or actually we are going to say retake. So here we could say retake quiz handler, or actually this is going to be on click, because we are going to say on click we're going to take the retake quiz handler. Right now this is TypeScript because everybody uses TypeScript today, so we are going to use TypeScript, of course. So we are going to define an interface here. We're going to call this game finished props. In here we are going to just take this retake quiz handler, and this should be essentially a function. And here we can define that this component is a React component, which is of the type functional component, and you basically import it from here. So you import FC. Why can't I find FC? Yeah, here. So FC is a functional component of type game finish props. So now I can actually press object here, and if I start typing things like retake, you can see that it automatically suggests that this is the variable name that I can take out because it already is here. So I'm going to say retake quiz handler, and now on click we are passing this function. Instead of function, I think it would be better to name this something like this, to void. So we're telling that this is a function of, this is of type function, and it returns nothing. So that's why it's going to provide the on click. All right, are you with me so far? Can you let me know in the chat by just typing yes? Because this is not supposed to be a tutorial, but the more you follow me, the more you look at what I'm doing, the more you're going to learn about how React works, how we are managing state, and then also the other frameworks in the case of going forward as well. Now that we have this game finished inside or created this component, we're going to use it inside the home page in the case the game has finished. So in here, we are going to go ahead and create a function. We're going to say game const game finished equals. And actually, let's do this. So when we pick a question, let's see what we do. In the store, when we pick a question, we essentially set everything to the state. I'm actually thinking now, we could have a state where we could say, let's see. We could have a situation where we could say if the asked questions length is equal to the, if it's equal to the total questions, then we just say the game has been finished, right? So here we could create a function. We could call it const is game finished, and here we could return asked question length, and here we could say const asked questions equals asked question length, and here we can say const total questions. Here I'm going to rename this to questions length equals, here we could say something like total questions length. So we're using the app store, but this is supposed to be a number. This is not supposed to be a function. My bad. So then I don't need to do that. Then I can simply say return. Here I could say if total questions length and asked questions length and total questions length equals asked question length. So if that's the case, then we are saying is game finished in this case. So when we are rendering this, we are going to say if the game is finished, right? If that's finished, then we're going to quickly go ahead and you know what, we could also use an effect to do it, to be honest. So here, let's create a local state. We can say something like const is game finished equals, or actually set is game finished. And here we can say use state. By default, we say false, that the game is not finished. But then we go ahead and then we can remove this code from here. And then we are going to create a use effect. And in this use effect, we're gonna provide some dependencies. We are going to say asked questions length, and let's add an array of dependencies like this. And here total questions length. And here we can now set set is game finished. And we are providing this condition. And we can remove this guy from here, right? Now, what we are saying is that we are going to check argument of set is game finished, boolean void, but isn't that correct? Wait a second. So it says questions length. So we could say 0, 0, and length. So when we do a set game finished, it's supposed to take a value. I'm getting some errors. Let's see what this is. Oh, wait. This should be a greater than. And then we should also have an ampersand like this. Yeah. My JavaScript is too good today. So we are saying that the total questions.length should be greater than 0. Ask questions length should also be greater than 0. And they both should be equal. Then we are going to set the set is game finished. Shujat Ali says, I think props for props type is a good instead of the interface, if I'm not wrong. It really doesn't matter, to be honest, in this case, because types and props both are quite the same when it comes to defining for props. The only benefit of types is that you can combine different types. So you can take intersections, you can make unions. But when it comes to interfaces, you can extend different interfaces. I have a habit of using interfaces, but I think it doesn't really matter what you use here. But if you want to use types, you can use types. But there's no right or wrong if you're using interfaces or types. So there's two ways of doing the same thing in this case. So now that we have this, we are going to say if the game is finished, then we are going to render the game finished page, right? And this is going to take the retake quiz handler in this case. So we can say retake quiz handler is gonna be this. So we are providing a function, and when that happens, we're going to just call the store, and we are going to say, hey, just reset everything. So what this is going to do is we are going to say reset quiz. So reset quiz is going to be a function, and this function has to be defined here. So reset quiz, right? This is going to not take anything. It's not going to return anything. So it's going to be like this. Let's see if I've missed anything. Nope. So we've got reset quiz here. Now this is going to set a couple of things. This is going to set everything back to the default. So in this case, the questions would become empty, or not empty, but the asked questions would become not asked again. That the score would still reset. So we're going to do two things. Let's keep it simple for now, and then we are going to enhance it. So score is going to be 0. Current question is going to become null. Or we could also get a random question like this and set it to random question. Then we are also going to set all the questions that we have to state.questions. And we're going to map this, and we are going to say that every question will now be not answered. So we are going to take an object, we're going to return back question itself, but also asked set to false. So none of the questions would be answered in this case. What does it say? Have we missed anything? Asked false, blah, 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 blah. So we are getting the state, we're getting the store, we're taking a random question, and we are, oh, because this variable is wrong, question, and then question. There you go. So now we have a reset quiz thing here. For some reason, oh, we have retake quiz. Good. So now in here in the home page, when this handler is triggered, we're gonna call reset quiz. Easy peasy. So let's actually import this up top. So we are going to import reset quiz like this, and then we are going to extract it out reset quiz like this, and then finally we are going to call this here, right? So this should reset everything, reset the store, and I think we should be good in this case. So let's try this actually. So now if I go and give the answers, I'm gonna go and say add interactivity to HTML pages, script tag, and hello world. Now you can see that quiz finished. We can see the score up top. We can see, yeah, this is wrong, but still. But if I say reset quiz, now you can see that the score is 0. This is supposed to be a first question out of 3, but I can see that yeah, that has not happened, and that has not happened because when we are doing reset quiz, we're trying to get a random question at the point where all of the questions have been asked, and that is not correct, because we are marking all of them as false after. So we are picking a random question first, then we are marking everything as not asked. This is not supposed to happen. So what I'm going to do is in here, I'm going to take out the questions. So instead of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this here. So questions remaining, and then I'm going to pass state.questions.map. So actually, let's do this. We can say something like const resetted questions equals. So I'm making it more pretty by adding a couple of more variables. So in here, I'm gonna send the resetted questions. So we get all of the questions out. Then from here, so yeah, we got all of the questions out. Then we're gonna use the resetted questions.length. Then, or it's more or less the same thing, but I could use questions as well, I believe. Yeah, I can use the same one. Then we're going and saying pick the random one, pick it from the questions that we have now. Remember, this is not state.questions. This is rather the resetted questions, then converting into questions. And finally, I could go ahead and say, hey, now that we have got this one, I'm also going to update the questions right here with this. And I can shorten this down to this. Now let's see if this works. So we got questions, which is supposed to return questions remaining. This is supposed to return a quiz question array. Just putting it here for TypeScript to understand that this questions array would still be quiz question. And then we are assigning the same value here. Now let's try this out and see what happens. So I'm going to go to my browser. I'm going to try to do again everything. So document write hello world to add interactivity and script. Now you can see we got the score here. If I retake the quiz, now you can see that we also get the current item, the random item, and then we also see the score resetted. One bug that I just saw is if I go through this guy, this, and script, the score still remains 10. You can see that it doesn't increase. Why does it not increase? We have probably a bug in our code. And that is that when it's trying to add the score, it's not able to do so, and I'm wondering why. So let's say, so we reset the quiz, and we also see a weird issue here where we get 4 out of 3 as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first see, because we're going to import the same logic on the other apps, it's important that we get this one correctly. So let's see. So I'm going to commit this. So what we have right now is a state where we have a current question, we have the list of questions, we have score, and then total score. So when we click script, the score should become 5. So in this case, we are checking the state right now. It checks the question's correct answer ID. And in this case, it doesn't found it. Why is that though? Because we don't have the correct key for the third one. Yeah, that's why it's not calculating the score. So let's quickly fix it. So I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to find correct answer ID, which is this. This says correct. It should be correct answer ID. And now we have 3 correct answer IDs. This also means if I click raw, I'm going to get a new link. So let's copy the link. And also in the code, I'm going to go ahead and go to store.ts. And I'm going to just go ahead and fix this right here. Now it should work. So I'm going to go to quiz app react, refresh this. And now let's see. So score is 0, becomes 5, becomes 10. And if I click this one, then it becomes 15. Yay! We only have one issue, and that is it says 4 out of 3. And that is because when we answer a question, we mark the question as asked, and then we try to get the next question in. So in the home, let's see what's happening here. So when we try to pick the asked questions length, it essentially goes to see all of the questions. It filters them, and then it returns all of the items which have question asked and then dot length. Now I want to see at this point what is inside the state questions. So I'm going to put a breakpoint in the home TSX inside here. So we can see what happens here. How does this become 4? So I'm going to retake the quiz. Gonna select script, this, and now let's try clicking here. Now it goes ahead and checks the state. The question is still 3. And if I go ahead, the score is here. The question is also here. So now I'm going to play this forward, forward, forward. Now at this point, we have got 3 questions, right? So we filter the question asked.length, but in the HTML, are we doing something weird then? Yeah, here we are doing something like questions length plus 1. And I wonder why. If we have the first question being answered, then it should be... Oh, I think I know why. So we mark a question. I think what we have in the code is correct. This should just not show when we have all of, or how do we go about this? Let's see. So we get ask questions length. What we could do is we could find the ones which have not been asked and just subtract from it. Because the problem here is that we want to show 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, and then 3 out of 3, which means that there should not be this plus here. So let's try this. In this case, it says 0 out of 3, and that is because there's not any question that has been answered right now. So when we answer it like this, we got 1 out of 3 now. In this case, we go 2 out of 3 now, and if I click script, then it's 3 out of 3. I think that's fine. So let's keep this. So we have quiz finished, retake quiz, easy peasy. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and style this a bit. So in here, I'm going to add a class name. I'm going to call flex. I'm going to say this is going to be items center, justify center. And I'm going to say gap is 4. So now we see it like quiz finish, retake quiz. I'm going to make this one a class name of 3XL, text 3XL, and this is supposed to be flex column. So quiz finish, retake quiz. I'm going to also give this a margin Y of maybe 10. Babakar1103, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to CodeWithAhsan. So in here you can see now we got quiz finished. We got these scores as well, and everything works. So what we want to do is, if the game is finished, we don't show the question. We rather show the quiz finished situation here. So in this case, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that if the game is finished, that is, we have all the questions. We have but now there's one thing that we would want to consider. Do we want to persist this state in the store so we always know that a question has been asked and where we were? I believe yes, but that then means that we would have to save this state, the game state, also in the store. So let's actually do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and set the value here. So here we should have, is game finished? I'm wondering if I can just, does ZooStand allow derived properties or not? Let's see. If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna say ZooStand derived state or selector. Derive value. So you do a use store and then use derived state. The only thing that I think would be a problem in this case is that you're gonna have to create, but you can do this. Yeah. I was hoping to be able to do something like this, but I guess that's what you don't think you can support object characters. Oh, okay, that's sad. Oh, but we have the get one, right? Yeah, let's try this. But the game finished, it is also something that we would want to store. But I'm actually confused because in our app we should be seeing that. But let's have a look at the question. Do you have any courses about how to embed JSON into HTML? What do you mean embedding JSON into HTML? Could you explain a bit? I mean, if you're just asking about rendering a JSON into HTML, you can just create a new HTML element. For example, here, just inside this div, you could say, hey, I have this pre-tag, blah, blah, blah. And inside here, you can use a JSON.stringify or something. And then that could still render everything, if that makes sense. So if, for example, here in the home, we get all of the questions. So if I wanted to just show the JSON object of, let's say, the current question, I could use pre. I could here use JSON.stringify, but this is React, by the way. So here you could do current question, null, to, and if you do this, it's gonna start rendering the JSON like this. Is this what you're asking, Babakar? Or something else, because this is the JSON object. So going back to the question, we should have the data in store and it should support the current question or not show the current question because the game is supposed to be finished. Let's see what happens when we render this. So if we refresh now, the total questions length is 3. The asked questions length, because we don't save the state of the asked questions. Damn, that's why. But I think it should still be saved. Why isn't it saved though? If I go to application, state, questions, here, I think this is because every time we want the questions, we fetch it from the API and then we save them here, which makes sense, which means that if we are in the middle of a question and then we refresh, then we should still have everything resetted. So the score shouldn't be there in that case. Okay, we could do that. So app tsx here. But then what's the point of persisting it? That's what I don't understand. Maybe we shouldn't then persist the game object or the store with game, if that makes sense. So we shouldn't probably be storing everything like that, but yeah, could be. So I'm gonna remove this here. We got the answer questions. We have a pick question here. Quiz app. Looks good to me. Because if we go too much into storing everything, then that's also gonna be a problem. So yeah, that's not cool. Let's have a look at the app tsx. So in here we get the username, blah blah blah. On home page, as soon as we come to the page, we get questions and then we pick questions. So before getting the question, we're gonna set reset quiz and then get questions. So if I refresh the app now, you're gonna see that the store would be resetted. So if I refresh, the score is 0 out of 3. We answer this, we answered this one, we get 10. Quiz finish. We refresh, the score is gone, the recent state is gone as well. Cool. I think this is good. We can reset the quiz. So our application is working. I have JSON files and I want to put it to HTML, but I don't have no idea. Where do you have your JSON files? Are they on a server? Are they on a I'm assuming they're on a server. So if you have just the link to those files, you can get those files and then render it on the UI. For example, you could do something like fetch, and here, for example, yeah, you can put a link here from the front end, do fetch dot, then you get a response, then you send back. I'm gonna zoom in a bit so you can see. So fetch URL. Let's give this a URL const. URL equals, this is your URL. So essentially you do something like this, fetch this URL, then get the response, convert this into JSON, or get the JSON response out dot then, and then you can do a res, or you could say something like JSON response as a variable name, and then you can console log it. So you can do console.log JSON response, or you could also do document.write JSON JSON response, the variable name. So if you do this, I think it's gonna, yeah, that was not a good idea because I knew it would fail. Here you can see the JSON response and the JSON values coming as well. So essentially you use the fetch. So Google how to fetch JSON using fetch or Axios or whatever. So you're going to use this fetch method, providing the URL that automatically gets the JSON from the server. You convert it into a JSON response, and then in this, then you get the variable's value, and then you can do whatever you want to do it with it. So by default, if you wanted to just run it past, for example, if you wanted to just console log it, you would do it like this. So you can log it right here. If you wanted to put it into an HTML, then you would have to find that HTML and then add it to it. For example, if I added a new HTML element inside this section, let's say a p tag with the ID of container, and I wanted that, hey, let's make it pre. And if I wanted to put the JSON inside this pre tag where it says placeholder for now, like this, then you could use the same code, but instead of console log, you can find the element by ID, document.get element by ID, container dot text content. So you're assigning the text content to JSON response. Don't use the variable right like this, but rather convert it into a JSON dot stringify. JSON dot stringify the variable null2. And I think if you run this, you're going to see this working. Yeah. So here you go. You can see that it goes and sets it into the UI. So I hope this was helpful. You fetch, you get the document by ID, and then you run it. I'm going to put it in here. If it went through, I think it went through Twitch. Yep. There you go. Cool. Awesome. Connection error stats. I don't know why. But anyways, so I hope that helps. So I think our React app is working pretty fine. We could have utilized an easier state management as well. For example, context. That would have saved us some time. So we wouldn't have to work with a default state management. And I'm thinking if we should have gone with context right now or not, or maybe a use reducer. Or Zoostan. What do you think? Should we keep with Zoostan or go with context, the context API from React? Because Zoostan is suitable more for complex applications. So you would have an idea of, okay, this is how you use Zoostan. But then if it's a really simple application, then context makes much more sense. So yeah, it's up to you. So what should it be? Should it be Zoostan or context? And this is just for React. No problem, Baba. So in general, if I have a look at the application right now, I'm going to have a holistic view. So we have an app. We use Zoostan for it. We work with the username, a bit of navigation. We do work with the fact that you have to log in, set the things right there. Then what we do with the home page is we work with getting the questions, getting the current question, looking at the score, answering questions, picking the next question, and then resetting the quiz. I think the pick question should rather be in the state, but okay. But then yeah, no, I think it's fine. We can put pick question here. Then what do we have next? I think this is going to be very, very similar when it comes to the context API or Zoostan. I think the implementation would be exactly the same. Yep. One thing that I can definitely see is that we have a code duplication, and that is that this one. So we find the remaining question, we do some random magic, and we get a random question. And we are doing it in two different places. You can see this one, and this one. So it's like 6 lines of code that we can probably refactor. So here, instead of this one, we can probably copy this code. Go here. This function was never used. So I'm going to say get question. And here we're going to do this. And then return to random. Or we can make it in one line. Return question index. Ha. Remove this person, and then we got the questions array. We use the questions array. We could say remaining questions Remaining questions dot length questions or remaining questions into random index. Yeah, I think this should do it. So I'm going to use it here first time where we are using state dot questions. So I can say something like get random questions state dot questions, right? So I could do this. Then I can also use the same function here, but with a different questions array, which is resetted questions. And I can remove all of this. And questions, resetted questions. Cool. I think the app still works exactly the same way. So let's quickly go ahead and see. So in this case, I have logged out, refreshed, nothing on my plate. I say Ahsan. I see the score is 0. What is the purpose of JavaScript? We select this one. We see another one. We go with the wrong one. And then finally we have this script tag. So if I click this, we get a score 10, 3 out of 3, quiz finished, retake quiz. So if I refresh, it's again retaking the quiz. So this, all wrong answers, retake the quiz again, right? Right. So I think the app works pretty well. We can now start looking into SolidJS. But before that, I asked a question about if we should keep Zoostan or go with the context API. I can switch to context API, I believe, very quickly. It's going to be probably exactly the same, but it's probably going to be easier to manage. The only thing that we are saving inside our local storage is the session. So if the user is logged in or logged out, because if I go to login, I can go to login here. I can go to log out here. And I want to be able to work with protected routes. So let's see, React router protected route, private routes, protected routes. How do you do that in React? Let's see, there's nothing here. Route path, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Landing, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. State, handle logout, set user, blah, blah, blah. You do this, you go ahead. So if not user, then navigate to landing. I don't want to do that. I want to have a protected route. But if not user, then it navigates to, We could use it, but it's going to make things more complicated. Do we have an official documentation? Make use of how to create a protected route in React. Can I say not all? Somehow, I don't know. Consent 7 exists. Yeah, thank you. So, protected route, setting up fake authentication, blah, blah, blah. Is it the same code? Maybe. Is logged in, navigate to, I think it's doing probably the same thing. I could do the same though. All right, let's do that. This is the way we create protected routes and shown. Yasin Salim. Yeah, I understand. It's not really cool, but okay. Yeah, let's do that. So in app TSX, we could either manage the state here. So I can see if the username is not there. We navigate to login. I already have seen that. But let's also provide this to, because I'm already managing the state here. So how about we just go and we could go ahead and log in here as well. And we could put a use effect here. So we could say use effect. Because in here, what I want to say is if we have a username, then we should have the value retrieved. Wait a second. So in here, I'm going to say const is logged in equals use app store state.username. So if the username exists, then I know that it's logged in. We're going to use the is logged in as a dependency in a use effect. We're going to say if is logged in, go to homepage, right? Easy peasy. And then also that means that I don't need to put this here, because when you set username state, it's going to set it. Use effect is going to trigger again. I don't need this line of code because we already have one here. So now that we have this, let's try this out, because what I wanted to do really was, if I'm logged in and I go to log in page, if I'm already logged in and if I go to login page again, it should send me back to home. So if I go back, you can see that I'm not able to go back actually. So I cannot go to /login even if I try from here. Log in, enter. You can see that it redirects me to home. If I got log out, it takes to login. I can refresh. I'm not logged in, so it's not going to redirect me. But if I now say Ahsan Ayaz, hit submit, boom, we are on login. Zustan is bad, get rid of provider. But do you know that Redux by default uses Zustan? I believe all of the hooks as well, like the use reducer, probably also uses Zustan, or not Zustan, but context provider behind it. And Redux is based on context provider as well. I'm not sure how Zustan is doing it, but probably the same way. I think our app is complete. We have the corner cases working for us. Let's quickly do this, that we are able to deploy our application to GitHub. And once that's done, we're going to then look into the other sort of applications, right? So let's add a GitHub action build and push to GH pages, right? Deploy to GitHub pages. So is in this one, we can do this, build and deploy, concurrency, GitHub ref, recommended if you intend to make multiple deployments in quick succession. Makes sense. Steps, git checkout. This example project is built using npm output build folder. Replace the commands required to build your project. Remove the if your site is pre-built. Okay. npm run ci, npm run build, deploy, action, folder, build. I think that this makes sense, right? And we only do it when we push to main. I think that also makes sense. So let's actually install the latest version of it. So I'm going to quickly copy this command, and we are going to go and add a GitHub workflow into our code. I think you do it by creating the workflows folder. Is it? No, it's .github. Then inside here, you should have a workflows. And then you should also have a build dot or main dot YML. Inside here, you put this code, but also copy the one that said, hey, if you don't supply the action with the access token or SSH, you must access your repositories, provide the GitHub token. I don't need to get this. Okay. So then do this. Oh, permissions content, right, is already there. Cool. On push branches main. But we could also do it in a PR. But we could also do it in a main. Why couldn't we? So then on push main. Okay. I think it looks good to me overall. So when we run the npm run build, let's see what happens. So in here, oh, but we have a problem. The problem that we have is we are in the incorrect folder. So cd mv r github to outside. Is it not? Cannot move, permission denied. Why? That's weird. Can I close this file? Can I reveal in File Explorer? And then I can cut this and paste it here in like this. Try again. I don't understand why Microsoft Windows behaves so weirdly. So new folder, GitHub. It says this is being used. I have no clue where this is being used, to be honest. So I'm gonna get rid of the files, rm, rf, GitHub. Thank you. So now what I can do is I can actually, instead of opening this quiz app React, let's actually open the parent folder. So I'm going to open the parent folder, which is the quiz app folder. So let's select that. And now you can see that we got quiz app React and .github and the main YAML file here. Now what I want to do is I want to run npm CI, but we don't have any npm here. So let's do npm init y, which creates a package.json inside here, right? And in here, I could say something like a script that is called CI, which means that it's going to run a couple of things. First of all, it's going to, let me think. When you push this to GitHub, it's gonna go and first install. We could do something like this. Let's see. npm run. This is gonna be fun. We could say something like build React, which basically means it's gonna go ahead and do cd quiz app React, and then we run and npm run. Inside here we should have a package.json, which is this build, and I believe if I go inside here we should have a vite. Nope. Node modules and dot bin. That's interesting. Node modules dot bin. Oh, sorry, quiz app React node modules dot bin dot vite build, and I want to see the parameter supported. So can I put a destination folder? Debug filter mode watch out dir. So this is what I wanted. So in this case, we're gonna go ahead and say something like build CI. So build CI. In here, what I want to do is to run npm run build, but with the outdr set to this. So we pick this, we get out of the folder, then we go to build and then React. So we should be doing this. Now, if I run this command from here, it should be npm run build CI. Let's see if this generates this in the right folder that we want. So in here, I'm gonna say git ignore. We don't want to push this build folder, so we're not gonna do that. So let's quickly do from the root of this project, npm run build React. All right, let's see. So it goes into there. It tries to run the tsc vite build React, blah blah blah. Guapoldo, thank you, bro. How's it going? All right, so now we should have a build folder that I don't still see for some reason. So this has build React index HTML. Where is this build? Ah, come on. What is this? It created a dot. It created this folder. What? That's weird. Yeah, I know that's not gonna. What? Oh, oh no. This looks good to me. What are you preparing for? Should I have said this then? Let's see. What am I prepared for? I'm preparing this to go to Git. Now we got the build folder created. Inside there we have React, we have assets, we have index.html. Everything that we wanted is created here. So I think we're good. And now that means that I can now run this CI script. And here I would for now run npm run build React. But in the future, I'm going to also run npm run build React, npm run build, I don't know, npm run build solid, blah, 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 right? One thing that I would want to do here is I want to add a post install script that does a couple of things, because as soon as we push this code to GitHub, it's going to go and look at the package JSON. And what I want to do there is, or actually I could put this installation in main YAML. So in here, we run npm CI. This CI command should rather, let's have two things, build CI and then CI. The CI command would essentially go and install the packages inside each folder. So cd quiz app react and npm install and cd ... The build CI would be running npm run build React. So what I want to do is in the main YAML, I'm going to say that npm CI or npm run CI and then build CI. Once we are done, we're providing the build folder to the GitHub repository and it's going to just deploy it, right? So I'm going to quickly go ahead and make sure that one more thing that we want to add is the base ref for wheat, because otherwise it wouldn't work. So wheat base href, and my camera died. Give me 1 second. Building for production, base, public base path. That's the one. So here you say base, blah, blah, blah. So here I need to also provide in the quiz app React here in, I could also provide this in the config, but rather let's do it in package.json. So when we're building for the CI, we're also going to provide the base to /react. Is that correct? Let me think. It's gonna be actually not React, but where is my code? So this is going to be quiz app /react. So quiz app /react. This is going to be the URL, because when we are going to run this, that's going to be https ahsan.github.io or codewithahsan.github.io/quizapp, because this is a repository name. And then this is the folder where the React app would be there. All right. So now that we have this, let's save this and then let's put it in the main YAML. I think we're good. Let's push this and see what happens. So git status. Let's quickly have a look at the files that we have changed. Always a good idea. So build package.json, quiz app, blah, 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 build CI, blah, blah, blah. Let's go main YAML, main, deploy, install and build, run CI, build CI, super cool, package JSON, had preview, build CI, we already added that, cool. We got store. One more thing I want to do is I want to run the build CI, so I'm pretty clear. So npm run build CI. I need to be able to see that in the HTML right now, if I look at the build, you're going to see that there is no base href here. And with the parameter that we provided, it should run. Sorry, it's build. Is it build CI? No. What? Wait a second. The package is on. It says npm run build React, and then it says npm run build CI. What do we have in the packages on here? Is it build dash CI or build? No, it looks good. So npm run build CI. It runs build React, quiz app run build CI, blah blah blah. And now you'll see that so far we don't have any base href, but now once it would be created, now we should have gotten a base href or base URL. Yeah, here or inside of base, here you can see that the URLs change. Here it says assets index blah blah blah, and now the changed URL contains the quiz app / React, which is the base URL. So it automatically adds that. Really good job. So now that we have this, let's quickly check the rest of the code and push it. Package.json, blah, blah, blah. Package.json here. We added a bunch of stuff. Main YAML, push, store. We updated the gist, added a bunch of functions, plus game finish. Let's go. Home TSX. Let's go. Login TSX. Let's go. So now if I go ahead and do this, I can run npm or actually git commit react. We're going to say feed react app, finalize react app finalized, added GitHub workflow CI stuff, and a rocket. So we push this, git push, go to the code. Let me go to the top, and here now you can see 16 seconds ago, and you see this orange thingy. That is because we are now running a GitHub action. So if I go to actions, you can see that build and deploy is running. This is coming directly from my main YAML, build and deploy. It runs on every push to main. And if I quickly go inside, you're going to see the commands that we added running. So install and build, then we have deploy, and it looks like everything succeeded. So we should be good. So install and build, if I open it, it's run npm run CI, which went ahead. It added all the packages inside that. Then it went and running npm run build React. It did cd quiz app React and npm run build CI. It created the build in this folder. Hey sus, how are you? It created those folder, and then it deployed the build folder as we instructed. And now we should have our app deployed here. github.com, CodeWithAhsan, quizapp.git. This is the repository, by the way. But here, let's see if I can find the link where it deployed to. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go to that link anyways. So it should be something like code-with-ahsan.github.io/quizapp and /react. If I hit enter, it says nothing. That's super cool because it seems like it didn't deploy it. But if I do quizapp, it doesn't do that as well. Is it still deploying then? Let's have a look at the GH pages. So if I go to code, I go to GH pages. Let's see what's there. So there is a React folder which has the index.html. This should actually have it. Let's see. So I'm going to put the link here and see if the same link works. So here it says quizapp/react, which means the rest of the code looks exactly the same. So if I save the changes, let it deploy, maybe give this some seconds, couple of seconds to actually do something. And then if I click this, it is still either deploying or we have some issues. So let's see. 404. Cool. Quizapp, because it violates the following security force. But is it my code? No, it's not. And it's weird that it doesn't deploy it. Is it because it didn't find anything in there? I'm thinking. Settings. Let's see if I can go to GH pages. Pages. But I already am saving it. Yeah, I think that should be the one. Did I have to save this? Your GitHub pages is currently being built from the GH pages branch. So I deployed it, but I had to set this because I did not do it before. Now it should still be working once this is deployed, I believe. We're gonna see in a bit. I'm having a look at the question. I'm making a website like re-level. So where is quiz session that is have to so where is quiz session that in that I have to result. So can you give me some, I am doing my project for diploma final exam. Can you give me some idea for that, please? I don't understand the question. Could you repeat it? Now we have our app deployed because we needed to set it into the GitHub conditions. So I can refresh. You can see, oh, we have a problem. We have a problem that this would not work because we are using a simple routing. So we need the hash strategy. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So we're going to go and see React router hash strategy. Hash router. For what? Can you please find a... Let's see if I can go to my code. I think it's... I can probably just switch the router. In the main TSX? Yeah. But isn't there a hash? Yeah, a hash router, right? Can I use the hash router? Would it work? Clear. npm run dev. No. cd quiz app react npm run or npm start. Did I say something else? Run start. Npm run dev. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. So now if you have a look at the URL, you're gonna see that it says hash login. If I go here, it's hash slash. So hash login or hash slash, this is going to then not cause any problems on GitHub. Right now, our deployment on GitHub is actually causing issues because we don't use the hash strategy. So now that we have put the hash router instead of the browser router, let's remove this guy, save this file, add it, and then just push it as a fix. And our code should be automatically deployed. So I'm going to go and say git add, git commit, fix, react app. And here we can say use hash router, git push. It's going to run another round of deployment and then just push it to GitHub. So now let's go to our code. This should be orange again. Yeah. And now you're going to see that if I go to details, we have this new CI running, the CI pipeline. I'm making a website where you get a job with just giving some answer to quiz. So I need your help to make the result session. There's no template idea for this, to be honest. I mean, if you want to find designs, you can go to dribble.com, and then you can essentially just search the here for quiz app designs. If you're looking for design ideas, then you can just say quiz app design. You're going to find a lot of design of results and blah, blah, blah. But I don't think there is a template or code for that. So you're going to have to code yourself. So I'm going to share the link if you want to find it. Alrighty. So we have deployed this now. If I go and refresh this here and go to React, it still shows me the previous login. But if I refresh, it doesn't work. So I'm going to have to again do quiz, app, React. And I actually found one issue, as you can see. It goes to /login, right? Because that's a problem. It takes us all the way to /login. If I do Ahsan, it's gonna still work, but if I refresh, it's not gonna work. So that's a bit weird. The hash router should then know about the base URL, or we should be able to provide it, right? So then Vite, or actually React router hash strategy base URL. Let's see if we have something like that. Come on. Picking a router, hash router. Hash router should have a base. Do you have a base? No. Create browser URL, create hash URL. Wait a second if I can find it. So if we do a create hash router, we're going to find the path. We're also going to have a look at if we can say important. Using hash URLs is not recommended. This router is useful if you're unable to configure a web server to try using URLs with the hash point of the yeah, that makes sense, but it's not nice if you don't have. I think you should have a possibility of providing a base URL into your hash router. GitHub React. Let me see if I can find an issue here. Hash router base URL. But that should rather be in React router GitHub. Remix run React router. That's the one, right? So more repository container. Yeah, I think this is the one. So in here we could go and see hash router base URL. Path is a prop to browser router. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is it something that they end up creating? Base name. Nah. Well, that's sad if they don't support it. Then link with your app to hash today is a link to blah blah blah. Let's see if I have anything that is provided in hash router. So history route props. Oh, we have a base name here, right? So we could give a base name, but then this base name would have to come either from let's see. This is becoming interesting every now and then. So like read environment variables. So we have read exposes in env variables on the special import.meta.env object. Some built-in variables are available in all cases. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. All right. So then let's do this. So we have a base href in this case that we are gonna add. So inside here, we're gonna add two files. We're gonna say env.local, and then we are also gonna have an env.production, right? So the production one goes to GitHub. Local doesn't go to GitHub. So we are gonna have a base href equals this in local, and in here we're gonna have base href equals to quiz app/react. So we save this. We're gonna use this in the view or in the app. So in your app you can render using import meta env. Yeah. So then we can do something like this. So we have source, we have app.tsx, and then here we can use it like this, right? So we could add it right. No, not in app.tsx. It's in main.tsx. So main.tsx is gonna have here the base name set to, yay. So let's try this out. So when I'm gonna go and render this, I'm gonna actually go up npm run build ci. I have to first check before actually pushing this code that in the index.html or in the JavaScript, we end up in having that somehow. So we create all of that. Then in the JavaScript, well, now I have multiple JavaScript files. Which one was it? 37100b, which is this one. So in here, do we have import.meta? No. We should have a quiz app. Yeah, there you go. So we got the base URL here, quiz app react. Awesome. So this should work. So I'm gonna quickly add this then. Git add. I should probably create a quick video on this actually. How about we do it? How about we create a video right now? Let's make it small and make it useful. So to do that, I'm gonna then remove these files first. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this href, quiz app react, and then we're gonna take it out just like that. And then I'm gonna just quickly edit it afterwards. So app.tsx go away, localhost go away, white, blah blah blah. So in this case, let's remove this person as well. And what else do we have? Da 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 da. And then we have the files to remove. But I think it should still work. So let's see. So let's make it a bit cleaner. So we get env out. We get this guy out. We also get our GitHub. Where's my GitHub? GitHub out. Oopsie. And I think we should be good. All right. So, all right, let's see. So we gotta run npm run dev. cd quiz app react npm run dev. And then we had this code, and we can quickly open this guy. Okay, I think we're good. So I can quickly start about explaining the issue. All right. Okay. So the issue that we have right now in this application is that I have deployed this on GH pages, but it goes under the folder or the repository quiz app with a subfolder called React, because we are building the same app in 3 different frameworks. Now, so far it looks good because I'm already logged in, but as soon as I log out, you're going to notice that it now changes this to login, and it looks good. Now, if I try to go to React and refresh, you're going to see that here I can quickly go and do this. And somehow though this understands it. That's interesting. So I don't need to do anything in that case. But how did that happen? And why was it not working before? So if I go to quiz, that doesn't work. If I go to React, this logout now works. This is weird, because now this works. SNIRs, then we don't need to do anything. Cool. So we have a logout working. We have this working. But if we wanted to, we could add it just like that. Cool. All right. I think then, since this is deployed, I could now answer questions like, hey, document hello world, interactivity, script. Got 15 score, retake quiz, everything looks good. So I think we can just move on from here. We have deployed one of these, and we have the code available for all of these as well. So that means now I can quickly, in the next videos, I'm gonna start working on the other ones. So SolidJS, and then eventually Angular as well. So I think let's keep it to this. Yeah, I don't think all of the other things need to be told about so far. Yeah, we're good. So I'm gonna quickly add those files. Yep, nothing to push. Cool, awesome. Yeah. Question is, where are you from? I'm originally from Pakistan, but right now I'm in Sweden, in Stockholm. Alrighty, thank you everyone who joined today. I think we have been on for about 1.5 hours. I think it's just about the right time to close this. So let's wrap this up, and I'm gonna be seeing you in the next video, whatever that would be, or next week. So yeah, bye. The code has been pushed, of course. So take care of yourself.